What is the reputation? Volatile? I don't know volatile.
I don't think he's volatile.
I don't
himself.
think he's volatile.
No,
I think
he's
the fan
pretty
base is
chill.
volatile.
Can be, yeah.
That's the thing. It's like you see somebody out there burning it up and killing it or whatever, and then everybody's like, "All right, man, it's slow." This is the best time that I can remember in a long time for
20 plus years, easily.
For these
25 plus.
For the sport, the art, whatever you want to call it, of professional wrestling, without question. Is our guest ready?
He is ready.
Am I going to introduce him like I said that I was?
I don't know, are you?
I am. Ladies and gentlemen, the founder and CEO of All Elite Wrestling, Tony Khan! Tony Khan! I have to say your name that way.
Thank you.
Tony Khan. It's one of those names you say first and last.
I go against the internet with just TK.
No.
You're Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate you throwing the extra syllables in there, but thanks for having me on.
We appreciate you being on. You're the first guest we've had from All Elite Wrestling in the history of the company.
Yes. Yeah, it really is.
Really?
And we've been...
First of many. First of many.
Well, damn right.
Good. Because
we're going to hold you to that.
Like, I got my radio start doing wrestling reports.
Oh,
and now we're syndicated and been doing this show. Next year will be 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've, sent out feelers and stuff. I'm like, dude, we're legit fans. It's not just a promo show. We're really fans.
We heard the whole Starks families listen to us on the Bayou in New Orleans this morning.
Yes, and then finally, it's like we don't stop at start at the bottom and work our way up. No, we go straight to Tony Khan.
Yeah, we do. Straight to the top.
So welcome to the show.
That's great.
We're big fans.
Thanks.
You got big stuff coming up this week and next week.
Big stuff. We got one of the biggest weeks of television we've ever had. This week, we're up in New York City at Arthur Ashe Stadium, where they play the U.S. Open event. It's one of the best stadiums in wrestling, and we have this huge crowd coming in. It's AEW Dynamite Grand Slam on tomorrow night, on Wednesday Night Dynamite on TBS, and then we're coming back on Friday for AEW Rampage Grand Slam. And it's so much big wrestling. It's like a pay-per-view split across 2 nights, and it's free. Wednesday night on TBS, tomorrow night, plus Friday night on TNT. You're going to get so much great wrestling this week, and I just think it's going to be one of the best live wrestling events of the entire year, and I am fired up about it, guys.
Tony Khan, you've changed a lot about the world of wrestling that you see other people kind of picking up and borrowing, and we'll get to the media scrums in just a minute, but there for a while with wrestling, it was the live shows, not even house shows, but the live shows was just to promote the pay-per-view. That's all it ever was. And then when other people got networks, they really didn't rely on it very much. You guys have been awesome coming out of the gate with pay-per-view style matches. Like Jericho, Brian was like,
yeah.
I mean, I owe you $60, I feel like.
Got a title match this week, too.
You know what? That one's on the house for you guys.
Make it best of 7. It was great.
That's great. Well, for you and over 1 million fans in America and hundreds of thousands more around the world, that was on the house. That is a great match, and that's the kind of great wrestling. We love to give you that for free every Wednesday night on TBS and Friday nights on TNT. And that Jericho versus Bryan match, you're not kidding. That was one of the best matches we've ever had on AEW. I loved it.
It was great. And I kind of had been talking crap about Jericho. I was like, all right, man, we've seen all these different incarnations and stuff, but I don't know what, but the dude is in great shape.
Oh,
and
he can go.
The flow is still there. So good.
Chris lost about 31 pounds this year.
God.
And he's in the best shape, to me, he's been in.
Yeah.
Certainly the best shape he's ever been in AEW. He's really peaked Chris Jericho. And you guys are big fans, so you'll appreciate that's why we brought back the Lionheart this year.
Oh, yeah.
John Moxley's idea. There's somebody else. John Moxley is wrestling on TBS. Bryan Danielson for the World Championship in the final of the Tournament of Champions tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And it was actually Mox who brought that back, who said, I want to fight the Lionheart. They had another one of the best matches we've had on AEW Dynamite, about a month ago at the Quake by the Lake in Minneapolis.
Oh, yeah.
And now here, Tournament of Champions final, I got to say, both of them are in huge matches now. With Bryan Danielson, like you mentioned, he won that huge match to get to the final of the Tournament of Champions versus Jon Moxley. I cannot wait for that match. And then you got Chris Jericho wrestling also one of the great champions in pro wrestling, the Ring of Honor World Champion, Claudio Castagnoli, for the Ring of Honor World title. Jericho fighting for his potentially 8th World Championship in New York City tomorrow night. Big deal.
The only one he's not had.
Big
really
show.
yet.
You're right, man. I want to ask you this because I like a lot of the gimmick matches I've seen in AEW, the dog collars and all the stuff I haven't seen in a long time. Do you have any up your sleeve still we haven't seen yet that we're going to see in the near future?
Yeah, I'm working on some ideas, talking about some different variations on matches. You know, we invented some cool stuff here in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
A lot of matches have been done in wrestling, and the casino ladder match is a variation on the ladder match, which I think is pretty cool. Of course, we saw it all out. We had the casino ladder matches where MJF returned at the end, and that was a big surprise on our last pay-per-view, and now MJF's a big part of AEW TV again, and I think there's some other real fun matches coming up this year on TV, and we're always trying to innovate and come up with new stuff. By the way, if you guys have any match ideas, I always love hearing what fans of pro wrestling think. I'm a fan of pro wrestling, and you are too.
Well,
all right.
You give us your email address, and we'll make that happen.
We'll think about that. We'll go with some stuff.
I have to ask you this, Tony, because we're in Greenville, North Carolina, but we're syndicated.
South Carolina.
Or what did I say?
You said North Carolina.
Okay.
We're not ECU Pirates.
No. Greenville, South. That's where we're based out of. But we go all through North Carolina, Chattanooga, Tennessee, all around, and then all the way down to New Orleans. There is one of your tag teams is from Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
And this is where I'm asking you this I'm asking you this as a mark and not as a host of a show. They are the greatest freaking tag team in the world right now, and they've got all these belts. But when Swerve and Keith Lee are in the room, they're never mentioned or whatever, and there's not even a talk. And then you've got these other people who are like the number one contenders. They are great, but then these guys over here swinging out more belts than anybody. I'm like, are we thinking to save it to build up, or because I like them a lot and I get kind of irritated when I don't get to see them wrestle.
Yeah, it's our Carolina thing.
Well, I love them too. I think they're both tremendous. I think they're one of the greatest tag teams, and nobody's a bigger fan than me in many ways. I mean, certainly I've helped orchestrate a lot of these championships and want them to be a really prominent part of pro wrestling, AEW, and all of our great affiliations, whether it's Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling. And so I'm a huge supporter, and that would be a dream match. It'll be really interesting to see what happens in the World Tag Team title match tomorrow night on TBS with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland versus the Acclaimed, who are the winningest tag team in AEW history, going up against the champions in a great rematch of our last pay-per-view.
It was a great match.
But absolutely, that was a classic. And I think right now the tag team picture is hotter than ever. Certainly Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AAA, we've seen FTR have a lot of obligations, as it stands. They've defended the titles in Ring of Honor. They've got big matches coming up in New Japan. They're actually going to travel over to England to defend those New Japan IWGP World Heavyweight Tag Team titles. So they're competing for a lot of companies, but absolutely, they're one of the top teams in AEW. When I was a kid, I remember when Lex Luger was the U.S. champion.
Dude, he had a great run.
He had a great run. He was number one, but often he'd go a year or more without a world title shot because Lex Luger was defending the U.S. title. And same with Sting when Sting was the U.S. champion. So I do think, right now as the Ring of Honor champion, as the New Japan, IWGP, World Heavyweight Tag Team champions, AAA, Lucha Libre, they certainly have a lot of obligations right now, but they'd be great champions in AEW, and they're one of my favorite tag teams ever.
Tony, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. I know that I hear the little volume going up and down, which means that, how can we? Can you tell your person there to get back in touch with us, because we really want to get you on for a little bit longer and also keep this relationship going.
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, I would love to come back on. This is a winner. I mean, you guys have got a great market for pro. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I would love to come on and do this again. I mean, the markets you guys are in, those are some of the best markets for pro wrestling. Some of the best wrestling fans. I can tell you guys are big fans, and clearly you have great audience that supports pro wrestling. So this is great.
Top guys out. Hey, do me a favor.
We'll see you tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on TBS.
Scissor me, Tony Khan.
Scissor me, boys. Scissor me, Raj, guys.
Hey, thank you, Tony Khan. Have a great morning, sir.
Thank you, Raj, guys.
All right,
See you, boys.
Talk to you soon.
Have a good morning.
Tony Khan. These are great.
That was fun.
Yeah.